Right here I'm in the camper of my parents, and in this video I show you how I built this little shelf here with a homemade hidden fastening system. I quickly drew up what I want to build on the computer and then found some suitable scrap pieces of hardwood. These pieces of oak for the main board inside, and a piece of maple for the front edge that I want to stain with some walnut stain. Obviously I first need to do some milling and gluing to get the pieces to the shape I want. This board will be the two side pieces, and now I need the shape of the wall so I can cut that profile into the side pieces and they will properly fit to the wall. Now I don't have any of these nice tools with a lot of fingers that you can just press against that and then have the shape. So I have another solution. I've made a small block of wood with a hole in it that fits a pencil. With that I can follow along the wall and mark that onto another piece of wood. That fit is good enough. In the end it won't be absolutely flush, there will be a tiny bit of a gap, and then it looks pretty even. This shape I can now transfer to my pieces and cut it out. Next comes the mortise and tenon joinery for the shelf.
I first cut the slots on the router table and then the tenons to fit with my Samurai router jig.
The back edge of the shelf board should also be beveled. I need to mount the shelf beneath the existing shelf in the camper, and that's a bit difficult. Because I need to mount it here, but I can't screw through the top. I came up with a solution and made a quick prototype. I bought this aluminum U profile in the hardware store, and this I can screw to the underside of the existing shelf. Then I have this groove in the side pieces that fits onto that U profile. And then there are aligning holes, and I can screw some bolts in from the side, and therefore I just tap the wood, and that's it. For holding a shelf, more than enough.
And now for the actual pieces. Since the profile is 10mm wide, it fits a slot from a 10mm router bit perfectly.
This now fits in here and is just a little bit below this surface. I now mark the hole positions with the same drill bit. Now when I drill the holes exactly at the marks, later when I install it, the holes will be just ever slightly offset to each other. And that will then make, when I insert the screw here, will make the whole shelf press against the surface that these pieces are mounted to. And this block of wood prevents it from collapsing during drilling. This big countersink is actually just there so that the other end of the bolt reaches the other hole on the other end.
The rest was just some shaping of the pieces. The piece of maple from the beginning now also gets rounded and will be the front edge of the shelf. But first it needs to be stained, and while that first coat is drying, I can glue the shelf together.
Well, I didn't record the unclamping, the sanding or the varnishing. This now has 2 coats of varnish on it and this 3 coats of the stain. And I taped the front edge here so I can still glue to that. Alright.
Then I cut a dado into the piece so it overhangs the shelf a little and gives me unfinished wood for gluing again.
And that now fits. Alright, and now it just needs to be mounted. I now shim up the profile with a few washers so it's above this surface and have double stick tape on it. And with that I can press the shelf to the correct position. And carefully remove the shelf again. And loose the washers. And with these in place, I can transfer the hole locations directly with the drill. The material that I'm screwing this to is some weak, thin plywood or even particle board. So I don't use screws, but instead M4 hardware, just a bolt and on the other end a washer and a donut so nothing sharp is sticking out there. And now I can lift the shelf in place and it fits again on there and screw down these little bolts. Here you can also again see how the shelf gets pulled up. Now there's a gap. And now the gap is closed. And now it's done. The colors don't quite match the existing ones, but I think that's a really minor issue. But I'm really satisfied with the fastening method. That worked excellent.